What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 21st day of December, and here we are sitting at about $0.00466 with 6 hours left in the day, roughly. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it, okay? I want to address this consolidation range again, just what we're doing here. There's really some potentially interesting setups going on right now with this breakout, okay? Because you have this range, we had this range we've been consolidating in for about a month here, broke out of it to the downside, but there's no volume, right? You had a range that you're consolidating for about a month here for. Whenever you broke out on this day, there wasn't a crazy amount of volume, but the level of volume that we saw here was 2 or 3 times more than what we saw on this breakout, right? There was still at least above average volume on this breakout. We break out of this range here, when we're breaking out, there's still good volume coming in on the breakout, right? Here we have no volume. That doesn't mean that we can't go lower. You know, we're back right now at this moment, we're back testing prior support for resistance. That's not a good thing necessarily if we find resistance. And maybe we pick up the volume as we move down. Maybe this is just a back test of that. Or is this a signal that because there's low volume, below average, even like half the average daily volume on this breakout, is it possible that this is a fake out and that we return to the upside? Fake outs are very powerful reversal signals. Whenever you have a fake breakout to any direction, you typically run back to the opposite end of that consolidation phase, and then you break out to the upside. And we're heavily, you know, we are in heavily divergent times with our weekly indicators. Our weekly MACD has bullish divergence. Whenever we look at the XCN USD pair, we can just look at that real quick. Right, the weekly MACD has bullish divergence. The weekly MACD, stochastics, and the RSI. Actually, the weekly stochastics has bullish divergence here as well. But on the XCN BTC pair, the weekly time frames, all indicators have bullish divergence as well. Right? And we're in this just heavily divergent environment. I don't know if that's the right word to use. A heavily bullish divergence filled environment. A fake out might make sense here. And then what we did as well is we touched this prior area of resistance here, got very near these areas of resistance here. We're in our golden ratio zone from a low to a high here. We're at it's a perfect area to find some support and recover. And not to mention, we've got 11 weeks in a row red here. We've never seen in OnyxCoin's whole life 11 weeks in a row that were red. We've never seen it. It's never happened. And at the last like 4 or 5 weeks here, we've got a lot of wicks. Most of this movement down, we haven't seen Wick City. We're seeing a lot of wicks. It's like Wick City down here, you guys. It makes total sense, in my opinion, that this could be a fake out, right? Again, when we broke out here, there was volume. Whenever we broke out here from this range, we broke out here, there was volume. There's no volume here, right? And on top of that, we look at the daily time frame. You're bouncing off the oversold zone. That's a bullish look. I mean, look at how often we've just like been in this oversold area, right? Getting into it, no problem. Getting into it, no problem. And now we're starting to find support on it. That's actually a bullish signal, guys. Let's see if we can figure this out from the opposite end, right? Like here, when you are getting into the overbought zone, that's nice. The fact that you rejected it here, that's a very bearish signal. And that bearish signal is basically what kicked off this whole downtrend that we had here. Maybe not. Maybe, you know, maybe to this point you kept rejecting the overbought zone, but again, just the idea here that once you stop getting oversold and you actually start to see some resilience in that level, that could promote a change of trend. And it's not perfect, but it looks like we kind of have an uptrend here, higher lows and higher highs. I like that look a lot, and this does help the idea that this could be a fake out. The stochastics don't look the best right here. We're oversold, but if we can get out of the oversold zone, that's typically a bullish sign. That should at least send us up to some higher prices. But there's some potential to go to the overbought zone as well. We haven't been overbought in a very long time. It's been since September, and even then that was a fleeting moment. The MACD, I think, is the most incriminating that this could be a fake out, because what we have here is potentially a false cross to the downside, right? Like here, whenever we were moving down, you're moving down in the price here, you had a false cross to the upside. Whenever you cross back down, all that did was push the price down lower immediately, right? If we have a false cross to the downside, we're in this fake out territory. We've been consolidating here for like a month already, over a month at this point. We've got a fake out. That false cross, and then we cross back up, could be enough, could be the exact signal that we need to send us to prices that are above 007 again, and potentially on our way back to 1 cent. let alone all the bullish divergence that we've got set up on the weekly time frame here on the Bitcoin chart, on the RSI, stochastics, and the MACD. I mean, there's a lot of incriminating evidence here that suggests that this really could be the low. It really, really could be. This could be the fabled low. With that being said, on the 1 hour time frame, we look at this on Coinbase here, there are a lot of gaps. There's a gap right there. There's a gap right there. There's even a gap all the way down here technically. And Coinbase typically does not like to leave gaps behind. There is still a very strong possibility that we could go down back to this low or even below this low. But even if we do, the amount of time that we spend down here or lower is probably going to be very, very short-lived. And we should recover with a vengeance in a very short amount of time. I know. A lot of people are getting tired of it. Oh, who was it? There was something that I was supposed to say. So somebody made a comment yesterday. I would give you a shout out if I wrote your name down. I didn't write your name down. I'm sorry. But they were saying maybe I just missed it, but have you ever made a video admitting that you were wrong? I've said that I was wrong with OnyxCoin, guys, so many times. Like, I mean, I'll say it now. I want to say it in honor of that comment that somebody gave me. I've been wrong about OnyxCoin since over here, right? We were talking about the pump. We were expecting the pump here. I thought that we'd consolidate and then we'd move up higher. This was not expected. Here we got excited. This was not expected. I was wrong all the way through. I mean, in hindsight, if I could go back, I would have sold up here, which I technically did, but then I bought back here. I bought at these levels, I bought at this level, I bought at this level. You know, I basically bought at every high on the way down because I've been excited thinking that we were going to move up this whole time. And I had to stop buying because OnyxCoin, it's my second biggest bag, you know, and just waiting. I mean, this is a really good time to buy here too. This is actually double where my initial entry was, right? We got in, it's a little bit less than double. We got in at 0026 over a year ago, right? But yes, I've been very wrong about OnyxCoin, and that happens, man. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I don't think I'm the only person that's been wrong, and I'm not talking about OnyxCoin specifically, but how many people since Q3 ended, since October, how many people expected that we would see a altcoin rally, that we'd see an alt season, that this would be a blow-off top finish, spectacular finale to our bullish bull cycle? We've all been wrong. I mean, if I'm singled out, if I'm the only one wrong, that's fine too. I have no problem admitting that. But the reality is, I think a lot of us got taken for a spin, and it's not just me. It's not just whatever community in the crypto space that there is, right? It's everybody. It's not just OnyxCoin. It's everybody, and that's half the reason. That's actually a large reason, probably way more than half, as to why we're still bullish on OnyxCoin. If OnyxCoin did this, and the rest of the market had a good Q4, you guys, we would have stopped believing in OnyxCoin at this point here, you know, but the fact that we've kept coming down, the fact that we are still outperforming Bitcoin this year, we're up 100% this year, where Bitcoin's down this year. Bitcoin's down like 5%, we're up like 110% this year. We're outperforming the average altcoin, even with this huge deficit, even with this huge drop. All you've done is come down and backtest prior areas of resistance. So yes, we were wrong. In hindsight, wouldn't it have been great to just sell here, and then wait to buy back here? In hindsight, it would have been great. But that's the thought too. That's the thought. Imagine everybody here who panic sold because they were wrong, quote unquote, right? Because they were wrong. They're not thinking properly, right? You're not thinking properly. If play a game with yourself, literally play this mental game with yourself. I like to do it. I like to do it because it helps set things in the proper perspective, right? If I was panicking, if I was thinking, man, I made the wrong investment, I bought here, wherever, even if I bought back here, man, I should have sold here. What am I thinking? Should I just cut my losses, take my gains? What little I have left, should I just take it now? Like that kind of panic, desperate, emotional state, it's not going to help you. Think about it logically. Play the game with yourself. If you did this perfectly, what would you think about this right now? And what do I mean by that? Let's pretend you're the best trader in the world. You're not. I'm not. Right? At times you can be. At times You cannot be, right? We have our hot streaks and our dry spells, but that's not the point. Pretend that you're the best trader in the world. You can see the future. You bought right here and you sold right here. You bought right here and you sold right here. And just for the cherry on top, you bought right here and you sold right here, and you haven't bought back into OnyxCoin at all. You're completely out. You play this thing like a fiddle. You were the bottom. You were the top every single time. In the good way. You bought the bottom and you sold the top, right? Every single time. Imagine that's you. And you went to bed, you woke up, it's months later now, we're not in July, it's December, and the price is down here. The price is down here at its golden ratio zone, from a low to a high. You're at the golden ratio zone. You're getting wicks down here like you haven't seen throughout this whole move down. We've had wicks to the upside. Now we're getting wicks to the downside. This whole move down, we've had volume that's pushed us down on all these breakouts. Right now, we don't. This whole move down, we've been building bearish momentum, and now we're decaying in that. Now we have bullish momentum building, or bearish momentum dying off, bullish divergence building, and we have bullish divergence in the stochastics. We have never seen 11 weeks to the downside ever in our lives. Here we are at the golden ratio with everything else implied, and you're at prior areas of resistance here, finding support. If you played this thing like a fiddle, would you be looking at this right now like, oh my God, I am glad that I stayed away from this piece of crap. This thing's going to zero. Or would you be like, you know what? I'm going to take some of those gains and I'm going to put them in here because it seems like a very obvious point to get in, right? The only reason why people are panic selling here is because they're not playing the game with themselves. The game is playing them, right? The emotions are playing you. The desperation is playing you. But in reality, everything looks like this. Everything since September looks like this right now, right? Maybe everything doesn't look like this from January. I don't think everything has had a 90% drop since January, right? I mean, we can look at the others chart right now. Let's just real quick look at the others chart. OnyxCoin has been outperformed by the average altcoin since January by far. But since last year in November, OnyxCoin, you take it 2 months back, OnyxCoin has outperformed everything since last November. It has been outperformed by the average altcoin since January, though. And if we look at this, let's just see. Even from December, from the highs here to where we are now, the average altcoin's down 56%. OnyxCoin, from its high to its low, dropped over 90%. That's a big deficit. But also, you pumped 20x, 21x in 2 weeks. So, regardless of being right, being wrong, regardless of being in the red, being in the green, have some foresight. Have some diligence, right? You can have faith too. You need faith, but faith is cute. In this game, you need conviction. And conviction is only built through knowledge. It's built through research. It's built through studying. And it's built through patience too. You got to be patient. I'm very confident that from this area, we're going to see a proper reaction. The thing that gives me the most confidence out of anything that we've talked about so far is the Bitcoin chart, the XCN BTC chart, 100%. Why? Bullish divergence on the weekly RSI. At the moment, actually, I guess we don't have bullish divergence, do we? Do we? We have lower lows. Technically a lower low. There's still 6 hours, 5.5 hours left. We can come up a little bit, maybe. Even if we don't, even if we get a slightly lower low, it's still like a double bottom. We had a slightly lower low down here, and then we moved up. You know what I mean? It doesn't need bullish divergence to be the low. But still, somewhat of a double bottom look here in the RSI. You rejected the oversold zone, and you really, even with that, you're not really breaking out that much. There was no volume to follow through. The selling pressure's gone, guys. Or it's very minimal at best, right? The stochastics have bullish divergence, like triple bullish divergence. The MACD has a very, very beautiful look of bullish divergence here. Let's try and zoom in right here. I mean, just look at how clean that is. Any analyst worth their salt looking at this right now, seeing this on the MACD and looking at this price, they might not think like I do. They might not think like, okay, we're going to see new highs, but that's not the point. They'd at least see that there's a bounce coming here. There's going to be something that provides a standard retracement, but then we expand upon that. Again, have some foresight. Think about it. If we get a bounce here, even a standard retracement from a high to a low, even a standard retracement, we go up to the 382. We've broken out of this range. With a standard retracement, even to the 236, let alone the 382, let alone the golden ratio or anything above it, we break out on any kind of scale. We break out of this downtrend that we've been in since January of this year. That's going to have some very bullishly implied things. You're bouncing off of this area where you found resistance before. Such clean structure. We didn't pump and dump. We pumped and then we consolidated. It's very tight and very slow, methodical to the downside, right? Low to high here, you're bouncing off your golden ratio on the Bitcoin pair. You're bouncing off the golden ratio on your USD pair. You've got the same setups across the board. It might not seem obvious if you have your life savings invested in OnyxCoin and you bought here and you bought here and you bought here and you FOMO'd every single high. It might not seem obvious to you that this is a great area to buy because you're in this depressed, only no downside mentality. But the reality is, if you played this game like a fiddle, you'd look at this exactly for what it is and with clear eyes and seeing that this is a perfectly good area to buy. We're doing things differently down here. That doesn't mean we can't go lower. We can go lower, but soon enough, in the amount of time, if we spend lower than this low at all, will be insignificant. Soon enough, we will be moving up higher. And even if you're not on board with the idea that we go up to new highs, I'm very convinced we do. I don't think that we made this kind of a voluptuous move with all that volume, slow, methodical pullback to this point of resistance. I don't think that we formed this very healthy structure, actually, to just wind down. You know, that's not me. I don't think that we're going to break out of this and then just from there, you know, maybe. But even if we do, that's still going to be 150% pump. That's still going to be like a 200% pump, maybe more, right, from here. There's still short-term opportunity. There's a lot of short-term opportunity. And on top of that, you can be staking the whole time. You can be adding a little bit of extra cheddar with that. But I'm just rambling. I'm talking. I'm doing the same things that I normally do. There's really not much to go off of right now, right? We're just moving sideways and kind of being boring. These macro things are a big deal. That's why we're talking about them. 4-hour time frame here, if we're looking at this, not a whole lot of volume. 4-hour RSI, it's very volatile, but somewhat bearish at the moment. The stochastics look bullish, and the MACD has some bullish implications here. But overall, nothing really too exciting on the 4-hour time frame. The daily time frame has some exciting prospects, but those prospects only become exciting if we move up from here. We can close the day red, but we have to continue to move up. If we move down, we forfeit a lot of these exciting prospects, and that's fine, but that means that we'll go lower. We'll probably go below 0.04, find a low down there, reset our indicators, and then try again later. I don't really have anything else for you guys. If I had to guess, I think that we are in fake out territory, and that will be validated once we get a daily close above 0.049. Let's just say 0.049. We close above 0.049 on any given day. We validate that this was a fake out, and if this is a fake out, my automatic thought is we're going to break out to the upside. If we're breaking out to the upside, all of this stuff is unleashing, and it's not going to be a small move. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Onyx, the protocol itself, has some big things planned in Q1 as well, you guys. There's a lot of things coming online in Q1 that are going to help propel this thing forward. You buy the hype, you sell the news. The news is going to come out in Q1. The hype is happening now. Perfect areas to buy. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.